Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to this week's Metaworld News. These are our headlines, basically, for the week ending, believe it or not, the 1st of July 2018. We're halfway through the year already. Hard to believe, is it not? And summer is here in the UK, very much so. About a week of sweltering, lovely weather if you go for the heat bit, which I do. And festivals galore, outdoor events galore, that sort of thing going on at the moment. But of course, this news is concerned with virtual reality. The great outdoors is an electronic one, basically. um, it's the place where we go to in winter, I guess, because we haven't been there much recently. Anyway, we look at social virtual worlds and also computer human interfacing, where haptical devices and things that are of developments that are of relevance to the way we interact with our virtual worlds and other virtualities. Um, uh, James is wonderfully situated here and on a camera. Said, "Yeah, are you going to talk about that?" He said to me just before we came on there, and I said, "No, probably not, unless I think I'm going to." And then, of course, now I suddenly realise I am. I acquired during the week an Oculus Go. They went on sale in Britain about 2 days ago, and of course, somebody couldn't resist, could they? They are cheap enough and they're standalone, so I wasn't worried about tripping over wires. Still worried about walking into walls, but that's a slightly different matter. And I couldn't really figure out what operating system it was, and I was disappointed to find that a lot of the VR worlds that we can go to in Oculus, apparently, the regular Oculus, which of course is installed into Windows, don't actually seem to be available on the Oculus Go. So I was a bit disappointed there. And also getting on a bit, my eyesight's not the best. And I did find that although there was no pixelation, I did find some of the experiences sort of were like a video that came to a stop and you had to wait a few seconds before it restarted, which felt like a bandwidth thing, though I have no bandwidth problems. And also, things did seem a bit blurry. It wasn't pixelation. It was almost as though I needed a focus button to make things a bit sharp. It was, the best analogy I can give is looking through a pair of binoculars where you've got the focusing wheel and you get it so it's the perfect balance between blurring one way and blurring the other, so you've got it perfect, but there's still something about your view that just isn't quite right. You just don't feel like you're picking up the detail you should be. So but that aside, for the price, which is what, about a couple of £100,
Yeah, did you
it's
did you say it was on sale?
no, no, no.
Oh,
It's
okay.
I believe that I can't remember. I think there's a 32 gigabyte version and then a 64 gigabyte version. And
Oh,
I think that may be in UK money at least 250. Um, um, yeah, 250 English pounds.
okay.
So yeah, I got the one with the best capacity
About
for
five
storage.
hundred euro then.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I noticed it's British prices on these things at the moment do seem to be on a dollar to pound parity actually.
Oh,
Even though
okay.
we're not on a one-to-one exchange rate, prices in the UK for American-made products seem to be priced on the one-to-one as if it was one-to-one. So I think we're being whether it's import taxes or maybe Trump's got export taxes. I don't know.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
seem to bear any relation to the actual exchange rate.
All
Although I
right.
must say, one-to-one parity, even though that's not the exchange rate, it's actually quite convenient if you're trying to work out prices.
Well, sure. Sure.
Because $100 is under pound, although it isn't, if you see what I mean.
Oh, what's the
Anyway, that's
what's
that's really big news. That's the now for the financial
right?
news
Right. The
report.
financial report. Yeah. What's the exchange rate to euro to pound? Okay.
I haven't. I think it's about 1.3. So, sorry, pound to dollar. I think is about 1.3.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that.
All right.
But I can't be bothered to watch these days.
Right.
It's all okay. It's all in collapse
That's
anyway.
right.
It's all
And
artificial.
if it's not glow
Oh,
bits, right?
it's probably it's all artificial. It's the original virtual commodity. It's called money,
Right.
especially when it's plastic money.
How much Bitcoin is
Um,
that?
and probably it's probably all in free fall anyway. And I don't I can't see any of these half of these. Bitcoiny type things
Right,
taking
right.
off, because at the end of the day, they still have to go through some kind of national jurisdiction, which brings you back to national currencies. Oh
Whew.
God! What a world! What a world! What
That,
a world! Anyway, to get on with the news, you can follow me, folks, at Twitter, twitter.com/Malburns. That's MALBURNS, or one word, though it's two words if you are talking about me. And companion feed at twitter.com/Metaworld News, again, all one word, which goes with this program. And yeah, you'll find links to various articles there that I post throughout the week on those two accounts. And I've got a couple of other accounts too, which are more specific virtual worlds. A crypto journalist critiques a Mark Space. Mark Space is my I've talked about this on the news some time ago, and I remember years ago, back in the days of VRML, there was oh, it's not opening. Thank you, Windows. Oh, either that was been taken down. Okay, the link's on my feed anyway. Markspace actually has sort of reappeared as a virtual world, but it's all about cryptocurrencies and blockchain land and all that sort of stuff. And a journalist from one of the cryptology sites was very critical of what they're trying to do. They've been making headlines, well, within the sphere of VR startups. They've been making headlines by really promoting similar kind of stuff. Actually, to be honest, that Philip Rosedale promotes with high fidelity blockchain this, blockchain that, and whatever. But in the case of Marspace, this journalist really tore them apart. When it comes to blockchain currencies, blockchain goods, and everything else, especially land, you need to be wary. And there are plenty of other virtual worlds starting up that are selling virtual land that doesn't even exist yet for astronomical prices. And people seem to be investing on the basis they will have a patch of virtual land at some point in the future, and it will somehow bring them an income or be worth money to them. Go figure. I haven't figured it out yet, and I'm in virtual worlds all the while. Okay, moving on. 3 days ago, HTC have partnered with China's massive state cell network, cellular carrier, to boost mass VR adoption. Apparently, HTC and China Mobile Communications Corporation jointly announced a partnership to accelerate the proliferation of 5G infrastructure and devices in China. Um, Essentially, what this means, it's often we often forget that in many ways China's a bit ahead of the game here. Is basically ubiquitous 5G data speeds for mobile, really, in China, and that speed is competes favorably with very high speed broadband fiber that you may have coming into a house, and you would be able to stream virtual reality um, in real time over 5G communication infrastructure. So HTC and China's government basically are getting together to enable that in China. And next time I hear BT complaining about the size of the area they're being asked to cover in Britain, I would just ask them to go and have a look at China. If China can cable up their entire country, I think BT is capable of doing it in the UK. They're just not willing. There's no money in it, I
Goodness.
guess. Okay, moving on before I get into hot water of opinionating again. What if? What if indeed? Better open this. Oh yes, Virtual Education Journal. I think we covered that last week actually. Is online in the latest issue. Right, back to the general stuff. Only 2 pages here, really. Um, is the virtual worlds community an echo chamber? Question mark. Is there a hard upper limit to public interest in virtual worlds? This is the question asked by Ryan Schultz at ryanschultz.com. RyanSchultz. Posted well earlier in the week, fairly early in the week. Not a long, extensive article, but person in question, really. Meanwhile, uploadvr.com, a post called Google's long-term strategy could dominate VR and AR. I've got a feeling this was on last week's show too. Basically, it's not a press release from Google, but it's clearly an article by somebody who's pretty um, uh, is either very immersed in Google or is a completely addicted fanboy of Google. I mean, so I'll look at what Google's doing and how all their things come together. And especially with relation to VR, AR. That's uploadvr.com. 3 days ago, I think there's several posts about this now. The first one I got here is at road2vr.com. That's road to VR. They're all words except for the VR, which is the letters, and it's all one word. So road2vr.com. High Fidelity raises 35 million US dollars Series D financing to further develop social platform and blockchain tech. Now, I don't really know how this works. So Series D may be Series 4. A, B, C, D, or I don't know. It certainly seems to me that Philip must be on his at least his fourth round of financing at the moment, and he always seems to manage to get it very easily, which is great news for us and High Fidelity, of course. Um, Yep. Basically, it's just more money in the pot for development. I think most of the additional funds are required to for the blockchain technology that they're investigating. Um, the they want to open a new office in Seattle as well as the one in San Francisco. And leading the round of blockchain was that's it, Galaxy Digital Ventures, um, which invested 20 million from its Galaxy EOS ecosystem fund and other investors. Blockchain capital, capital. Yeah, you can imagine all the companies with capital in their name are interested in the blockchain. Go figure.
Hmm.
I do wonder if it's serious stuff, all this money and everything else like that. But why do I always have the feeling that blockchain is just like a current fashion that everybody's going on about and something, I just, I'm not entirely sure if we're going to be sort of talking about it in quite this far away in a few years' time. It seems to be like, on the other hand, just so many companies, especially venture capitalists, all still seem to think that investing in blockchain is a great thing. I mean, however this pans out, we're still going to have national boundaries for exchanging money, and the more time goes by here now, despite the internet and everything else, it seems we're getting more and more countries around the world that's putting walls up around themselves instead of bringing the walls down. So how some of these things are actually going to work on the international global scale, I'm not sure. Anyway, opinionating is not to be done on the news. I keep having to remind myself. Opinionating, no, no, no.
It's just
Right.
life on the cutting edge of
Yeah,
change.
it's
Yeah.
life on the irresistible motor mouse, basically. Yeah. Sorry. Dive Real, a brief introduction. Another post from Ryan Schultz, ryanschultz.com. This was today, or maybe yesterday. It's within 24 hours anyway. Um, Dive Real is another social VR. And Ryan mentions that he really came across it through mentions in the social VR Reddit community. And Dive Real is recently launched on Steam, and it builds itself as social VR on planet Earth. Ain't that a good line? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a second life up in the stars. It's social VR on planet Earth. Well,
Okay.
go figure. Yeah, I must say the avatars look fairly presentable. I mean, given some of the avatars we get in Mesh Worlds these days, they look pretty decent. I don't know whether this is actually what we'd call a mesh world or not. But apparently, you have to choose some basic avatars. You can't customize much, and it's not really there yet, but it's probably far more there than a whole load of other things that have been popping up of late. So somewhere in the middle there. Upload VR. I have a post. This was 5 days ago. It's a great post, and in fact, a number of other sites seem to have pretty much taken up the whole thing. The guys from Science Space, Adam and Rowan, are over in the West Coast at the moment, in San Francisco, LA, doing a kind of little tour of presentations and stuff. And I suspect some of the press releases sent out with that have sort of brought. Have resulted in some of these mainstream articles. But how SciSpace may have already beaten Linden Lab to the second life of VR. Catchy headline, isn't it? Somebody called David Newell. Where do people get these names? Right, unpronounceable name. Uploadvr.com. And obviously, this is concerned with VR, so it's it's a specialized piece of press, so to speak. But I noticed the press release and the gist of the article have actually been taken up by quite a few more of the more mainstream media. In other words, medias that are not called something VR. As the way it's pitched, they've sort of, it's almost as though science space is the new modern Second Life. I don't know the guys at Sansar were too happy about. I don't know what Philip Hypothetically thinks about that, but Science Space are certainly getting quite a lot of mileage out of this the journalistic attitude that the press release is giving people. So there you go. And finally, engadget.com, that's engadget.com. A BBC show uses VR for home renovation designs. This is very much here in the UK. The BBC obviously have their home makeover programs and all that sort of stuff. And they are working with VR. Um, it's a BBC Two show. There are many of them actually. What we're called Watch This Space. Two couples strap on VR headsets and see designs from two different architects who crafted virtual renderings of the remodeled homes. The couples will select a design and then get to work on making their dream home a reality. And and you will see the broadcast results. Probably not in VR because television's not VR. If you tune into the program, Watch This Space whenever the hell it goes to air. Right, okay. So that's it from the main Twitter feed. Not as much there as I thought there was this week. So I'm going to move on to where are we? Our Metaworld news feed. I think there are a few different things here. Ryan Schultz, yet again, RyanSchultz.com. As you can tell, as posts from his site are appearing in both our feeds. This one is about Everjane, a brief introduction. We've covered Everjane before. It's been around quite a while. But Ryan's just got around to reviewing it. It's a very different type of virtual world. It's set in the world of the world described in the works of the novelist Jane Austen. It's an online role-playing system set in Regency, England, obviously. Great fun if you're into that kind of stuff. Although I would say it's less of a world than a game, but the distinction for many of these things is odd. Ryan has also got a post called Avakin Life, a brief introduction. Now, Avakin Life, Avakin, and then a space and then the word life, like Second Life, but Avakin Life, if you see what I mean. This has been around a while, I think. I've certainly heard that name before. But basically, they have a mobile app for both Android and Apple iOS. And it's a bit of a kind of a review of it. You can also, it can be used on the desktop, but you have to use something called Get Facebook Game Room. And oddly enough, it's another thing that is apparently, it might be on iOS. I've downloaded it onto my iPad, but it's not available in my Oculus Instant or whatever. Oculus Go, there we are. So tough on me there. Anyway, Ryan gives a kind of roundup of it. He really pretty much concludes that he's getting on a bit too. He says he found it very very difficult to interface on his phone with it, but I most certainly would too. I would say that it's probably, if you've got a decent size iPad, an iPad Pro or something, be absolutely fine. So it's always nice to find stuff coming out there, especially as when I downloaded this, I thought I actually went to the iOS store to update my iOS software called Pocket Metaverse, which allows you to get into OpenSim in Second Life. Lo and behold, it is no longer in the App Store. I believe it's something to do with the fact the authors didn't update it to 64-bit code, and you now can't get it. So
Sure.
that's a
Hmm.
bit. On the other hand, I did go and look on my old iPad, and it is still there. So presumably, if you've got it, you can still run it and use it. You just can't actually download it anymore into under the new iPads, or maybe it's iOS 12. I don't know, but you can't get it. So sad news there. You'll be down to Radagast and. But there is another one on Android. The name of which I'm lost on again.
Right, right. I used to use it
But
too.
no,
Hmm.
yeah, no OpenSim clients it seems on iOS at the moment, or Second Life client for that matter,
Hmm.
by way of their connection. Okay, so, now live on YouTube. I guess it's the third in the series of a program called Face to Face. It's hosted by Philip Rosedale and filmed in high fidelity. It's very interesting to see Philip being the interviewer instead of the interviewee these days. And his guest this week was right.
I heard
Something,
that.
something. Oh, good grief! My Apple Watch has just been
Ah,
talking to me.
okay.
Right, she just can't find any films matching face to face. Which oh, is there anything here that is not going to pop up and talk to me when it's not wanted?
I don't think so.
Right. Anyway, let's get back to what it is. So you'll find this online at YouTube. The link is in the Metaworld newsfeed at Twitter. Although I think you'll probably find it just by going to YouTube and searching for the username High Fidelity. Yeah, quite an interesting word. The thing I like most about this series is that so far, at least, all the guests Philip has have gone to the trouble of, or High Fidelity has gone to the trouble of getting their 3D, bodies scanned to make the avatars. So all the guests on this program actually look very uncannily similar to their avatars are basically recreations of their real life bodies. And this guy is considerably smaller than the previous guests and slightly plumper and whatever. And, I'm not being critical here or anything. It's just that, definitely a personality there. You can kind of imagine meeting them in the street. And recognizing them when you meet them in the street in real life. So it's a bit of a plus point for avatar realism, I think. Um, Right, also videos. Again, you'll find a link on the feed. Endgame, which happened on Wednesday it happens on 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. That's actually in VR chat and it's filmed there. Yeah, I find that very awkward, and in fact, I don't like VR chat's interface very much, but it's a decent film. Well, what I do like about it is that they deal with serious topics, basically. Endgame, and so if you like watching avatars chatting and talking about serious things seriously, then it's a rather nifty program. And yep, another post actually, which I guess is High Fidelity's blog. Oh no, no, I think that maybe another film, which actually shows their guests on that meet to meet, face to face show. Um, in the rooms, wearing their body kit and stuff like that. Um, Right. Okay, I've got another link which seems to go to. Yes, I think this goes to an advertising movie too. Neferati, Neferari, Journey to Eternity. This is a tomb scale VR experience. Apparently, it's a experience you go to. I think it's just embedded on the web, and it takes you into tombs in ancient Egypt and historical kind of educational experience. And yeah, yesterday you will the address you want for this one is blog.inf.ed.ac.uk. And this is a post called Moving Content Between Virtual Worlds. And this is a post from somebody called Austin Tate, who is not a frequent blogger, but when he does, we get some rather interesting articles. He is actually at the University of Edinburgh in the UK here. And they're working on, sort of basically moving content between the various virtual worlds there are. So their focus is Second Life and Open Simulator and moving stuff via Unity 3D to new platforms. The focus new platform wise is pretty much the same as mine: high fidelity, Samsung, and Science Base. But anyway, there's quite a lot to be garnered from this article, and contact information and ways of doing things. Nice little summary article there. If you want it, as they say. And yep. Um, yeah. Oh, hang on. Ryan Schultz again. These posts are out of order, but he also has an interview with the CEO of a social VR space on development called Terra Virtua. It describes itself as the Netflix for VR. I believe it's a system which is a virtual environment that is meant to be a launch pad for other virtual environments. Anyway, you can read what their CEO had to say to Ryan Schultz at ryanschultz.com. And oh yeah, here we are. Altspace VR, which I'm pleased to say is available on my baby Oculus or whatever it's called. Um, Altspace VR debuts new hangout space and game shows. Allspace VR, of course, did actually shut down. It's been around for quite a long while, and it did actually shut down. Oh, probably about a year ago. But the fan base was so strong that people sort of stepped in to keep it alive and kicking, so to speak.
Yeah,
Uh,
Microsoft had a little something to do with that too.
I believe they did.
Yeah,
I was
yep.
for one has to admit that occasionally um,
The
the
mighty
M word.
arm,
The,
the
the,
mighty
the M
arm
word
of
does
Windows.
appear in the news in a good sense.
Yep.
Yeah, they stepped in to help us out. In fact, the end never truly came. Microsoft swooped in and saved the company. As a result, it lives on, thrives, and continues pushing new frontiers. Well, actually, no, it says pushing out updates. That's the same as a frontier,
Nice.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Actually, Microsoft updates do not tend to make me think of the new frontier. But that's best not talked about because it's opinionating.
Yeah, I was just telling
This week we
someone
learn.
how afraid I am when a Microsoft update comes. It's like, what's gonna break now?
What? Yeah, what they're breaking this today.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
This was new ambitious plans from Old Space VR. First up, brand new hangout space in the game dubbed Origins. Previously, the default hangout area was a campfire, but the creators thought it was time for a new sister space, as they call it. Both will continue to coexist. There's also a new community leaders program, so new Old Space VR users can find experienced people easily to talk with and ask questions. When I finally load it onto my new baby Oculus, I will actually enter. I was told to go to the campfire, but now I've read this, I had better look for the other one. What was it? Forgotten already. Can't get back. Hang on. Oh yeah, Origins. Origins. I'll actually sort of test this out because it's a good way of testing out the device as well. So I will see if I can actually find a friendly mentor and a companionable space to chat to people in that program. So I should do that and report back on that one for you. Not strictly news, as I said. Um, okay, AR and VR news and education. This is a roundup post at uploadvr.com. Oh, 3 days ago. No, same thing on Hypothetics things. Yep, June 21st. Okay, we're all done. We're all done on that. So, just gonna have a brief look at another magazine that I keep feeds in over at what do you call it, Flipboard. And no, there's nothing new this week there. And I'm just going to finally hit the virtuality button. Um, and Reuters.com. I have no real details here. This is just a quick roundup. Have a post for virtual reality Milky Way model to open up the galaxy. Read about that at Reuters. Find out how Sim Racing Girl became a top virtual racer. This is a post at redbull.com. Um, technobob.com. Have an article today on get a great deal on Plantronics Rig 500HX gaming headset. Um, I would not normally bother to mention things like that, except that I recently bought a new headset and I'm a big fan of Tektronix, and I think the one you're going to get a special offer one is the one I paid full price for just a few weeks ago. If so, it's an extremely good device. So you might want to follow that one up. The best VR headsets available on the market today. Another roundup article from this is a great name for a site, thevrsoldier.com.
Oh
I
my.
don't know whether this is for military folks or whether it's just a nifty
Could
name.
be. Yep.
It's all one word, thevrsoldier.com. Um, right, a guide by Merce to virtual reality applications in the real world. And this is from a group, a site, if I do get it. Oh, this seems to be oh, it's not CNN, it's CCN. Go figure. It's not very easy from, it's not, oh, go, no. Go away. I don't want you. Sorry, I'm talking to Microsoft or wishful thinking they were listening. Right. Okay. I can't find the actual URL for what I'm looking for. I've just got a direct link that's taken me to the site called CCN. Basically, it is a guide by a group called Immerse. Imverse. Oh, I wish I hadn't followed this one. Okay, I'll spell it. The people that publish this guide are IMM, big letters in the middle, VR, and then small letters again, SE. And well, it's you'll have to follow the link, I think, because I can't do much better than that. So as I said, just a round up here. Um, Appeal of the Unreal, virtuality takes hold in The Hunter. This is at theherald.com.au, Australian paper. Um, Oculus details its very focal half-dome VR prototype. That's at venturebeat.com. And thehindu.com has a piece on immersive education. Um, okay, I think that's enough. One more at gamasutra.com, using VR audio to bring a sense of scale to pint-sized puzzler moth. Why do I think I'm reading the Sun newspaper or something when I get to some of these? Um, Yeah, I actually have plenty more there, but we'd be having a sort of a 3-hour show just to deliver news links if I went through everything in that particular feed. Okay, so final look is going to be at Google Plus. See if there's obviously our own shows are getting embedded there, but yes, that really seems to be about it. There are lots of groups at Google Plus that are involved with Open Simulator and virtual worlds in one way or another. Far too many to mention, but if you look through communities there, you'll probably see the obvious ones that will attract you. There may be individual grids, generic open sim groups, or even groups that are generic to the whole idea of virtuality. be it spaces or hardware. So I think that's it. I think that's it for me.
Wow.
Did I
Okay.
forget it? Did I mention anything to you that I've forgotten, James, by any
No, no,
by
not at
any
all.
chance? Oh, right.
Yep, I think you covered it all that I could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's certainly all the important stuff there. It's just me. I've had a lot of stuff in front of me this week, but of course, a lot of stuff is not necessarily relevant stuff, if you see what I mean.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I guess that's it for this week. Okay, well, I hope we've been of use to you all, and we will of course return same time next week. So for now, it's goodbye from
Huh? Goodbye
from
from
him.
him.
It's goodbye. It's goodbye from him, and he's going to say it's goodbye from him
And
too.
goodbye from him as well.
Yeah. So the two hymns say goodbye. Right. Maybe we'll find a. We better find a female
Well, I
newsreader
was
for
wondering
next
if we
week,
should.
and we. Two hymns is just not good enough.
Right, right.
We need a him and a her and a him and a her or something. Also, a female news face might keep me under control.
Well,
Right.
you could
Book
ask
page will.
Miss A
Oh, good grief. Or Miss G. Or Miss S.
or Miss Siri, right?
Or Miss C. Hey, Cortana, want to be a newsreader?
Oh.
Actually, she's on two machines in front of me here, and she's signed as a bat on both of them. So at least Microsoft are not a nuisance. In this case, they just don't work. She never wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
The other three, I'm afraid, do tend to wake rather frequently. Anyway, so that's it. As I say, we'll be back same time next week. Have a good week, everybody. Bye for now.